Okay, so here we're going to do an example of using factors. Let's look at it here. So here's the same data we had before, and if we do str, that means the structure of this thing that we just created, which is a data frame there. So it says it's a data frame. It says there are 4 observations of 4 variables. Well, there were 4 variables somewhere here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 observations means 4 rows. Each of the vectors has 4 elements, so there's 4 rows. So it says that, and then it gives the patient ID variable, the age variable, the diabetes variable, and the status variable. It says this is a number, this is a number, this is a factor, this is a factor, and the numbers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, and here the numbers are these. Now it won't always list all of them, but since there's only a few, it lists them all. Here's the levels, and then here's how they're coded, and here's the levels for status, and here's how they're coded. So we can see that it's coding them this way. Now, okay, so, and then we can also do summary of this same data frame here. So then we get a summary of each variable. So like the patient ID is a numeric variable, so we can talk about the mean of it and the median and so on. The age is also numeric, so we can talk about its mean and median. But diabetes and status are not numeric, so it would be wrong or strange to talk about the mean of the diabetes variable here, or the mean of the status variable. So it doesn't do that. It just says, gives you, I guess, the frequencies for them. So the frequency for type 1 and type 2. So that's what I meant, and here also the same thing. So that's what I meant when I said if it's a factor, there are certain functions that will treat factors differently. And one of the functions that treats factors different than age is exactly here, the summary function. So the summary function treats patient ID and age one way, but it treats these differently. So you might say, well, that's obvious, but it has to be programmed that way to do that. Anyway, so that's what it's doing. It knows that it's a factor, so it goes through a different set of procedures for the output for factors than it does for patient ID and age. Now, in the book, he actually goes and makes diabetes a factor, but actually wasn't such a good example, actually, because actually diabetes is already a factor. We can see it's already a factor here. We didn't make it. Here, he does this and this, makes these into factors, but I didn't do that. I just called status this and patient that, and it already makes them into a factor. And he didn't do anything special in terms of the levels. We said that there was a levels function. Well, we don't need to do anything special, we saw, for this kind of coincidental case, right, where this should be the first one, and this should be the second one, and this should be the third one, this should be the first one. So, but that was just a coincidence. So anyway, so that's his example for factors. Okay, he says, here's the description of how it works. He says, note that the summary function treats the variables differently, provides minimum, maximum, and so on for those, but not for the other ones. Okay, next we're going to talk about a very important structure called lists. That's very important, and we haven't talked about it yet.